Heads up, this podcast isn't therapy. It's bold, blunt, and irreverent, but it's not a substitute for professional help. Full disclaimer is in the blurb below. Hey, it's Annie, and on today's Relationship Autopsy, I'm going to talk about walking on eggshells. So, the cost to the self of feeling constantly cautious. Love shouldn't feel like a hostage negotiation. Walking on eggshells, yeah, it's not a flooring choice, but for some of you, it's the permanent layout of your relationship. Every word you say, every move you make, you're calculating how they'll react. That's not intimacy, it's surveillance. And you're the one doing the surveillance to avoid the explosion. So today we'll unzip this dynamic because it's more than just exhausting. It's a very loud alarm bell. So, cause of death, chronic hypervigilance. The relationship died of exhaustion. Yes, yours. You've been living in anticipatory anxiety, scanning the emotional weather forecast before you step outside your own front door. You've stopped speaking freely. You've stopped being spontaneous because your nervous system has learned one wrong move and there will be a storm. This isn't care, this isn't love, this is adaptive self-erasure. Let's first look at the evidence on the table, how the body was found. You rehearse conversations before you have them. You apologize preemptively to head off conflict. You might track their mood changes, like you're monitoring seismic activity. And you feel lighter and more yourself when they're not around. So let's explore the psychodynamics of this, the autopsy, the finding. The first one. We have emotional volatility being used as control. So the unpredictable moods aren't random, they train you. The person's unregulated state is affecting you. There is an element of projective identification at work here. So when love, approval, or even basic warmth is conditional on your behavior, you learn to suppress your needs and stay hyper-attuned to theirs. This is not compatibility, it is conditioning. So the second finding, we have intermittent reinforcement. So kindness and cruelty alternate unpredictably, creating a psychological addiction loop. And the good days feel euphoric because they follow bad ones, not because they're actually exceptional. And this keeps you hooked, hoping for the next high. So finding 3, we have enmeshment here and emotional outsourcing. You see, your emotional state becomes dictated by theirs. You feel responsible for stabilizing them and quite guilty if they spiral. And this creates a fusion trap where your identity merges into caretaker, mediator, diplomat, stroke peacekeeper. So finding 4. This generates shame and identity erosion. Over time, you might start believing the problem is you. You might minimize your own reactions. Say to yourself, well, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm too sensitive. And this self-doubt makes it even harder to leave because you're not just questioning them, you're questioning your reality. And the 5th finding, this can link back to early life echoes. If you grew up in a volatile household, your nervous system already knows this dance. It can feel familiar, even normal to some people, to have to manage someone else's mood for safety. And this is why some people end up in these dynamics repeatedly, until they recognize the pattern and work consciously to develop themselves and break it. Okay, here are my rules for eggshell walkers. The post-mortem protocol. So check your body before your mind. If your shoulders are up around your ears, your nervous system has clocked danger. Stop managing someone else's mood. Their emotional regulation is their job. We only regulate the mood of toddlers. Next, name the pattern privately. Don't excuse it away, call it what it is to yourself. Then, test for safety. Share one small honest truth and see how they handle it. Have an exit plan. Don't wait for a good time to leave a bad pattern. So let me reframe this. Love should be the safest room you walk into, not the most dangerous. The right person won't ever make you shrink, and they won't make you fit their comfort zone. They won't want you to betray yourself. If your peace depends on silence, you're not in a relationship. You are in an emotional hostage situation. Essentially, walking on eggshells is not the price of love, it's the receipt for self-abandonment. Healthy love lets you breathe, speak, and move without fear. If the only way to keep the peace is to disappear a little more each day, then the relationship is already gone. You're simply the last one to leave. Okay, so if this episode struck a chord, if you recognized yourself in the constant editing, the careful pauses, the fear of setting someone off, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not meant to live like that. Love doesn't ask you to tiptoe, love doesn't require you to shrink. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. You never know whose life you might be giving back just by letting them know they're not alone. And if you're new here, please follow the show so you don't miss the next episode. And tomorrow we're shifting gears for part 1 of the female orgasm, a deep, myth-busting, soul and science exploration that might just change the way you think about sex, pleasure, and connection. Until then, keep your voice steady, your boundaries clear, and your feet off the eggshells. I'm Annie. Have a really great day.